Cancelled flights, air traffic disruption caused by flight data issue. By Katie Austin, Thomas McIntosh, and Emma Harrison, BBC News. Widespread flight disruption that left thousands of passengers stranded was caused by incoming flight data, air traffic control bosses say. National Air Traffic Services said a flight plan that its systems could not process was behind Monday's technical problem. The fort saw passengers stranded abroad and the UK having to find alternative routes home. Passengers have been warned to expect continued knock-on disruption. One passenger told BBC News she and her young children slept on the floor of an airport after their flight was exited. NATS confirmed there were no signs the failure was caused by a cyber attack. The incident will be investigated by the Civil Aviation Authority, CAA. NATS Chief Executive Martin Rolfe said, initial investigations into the problem show it relates to some of the flight data we received. Our systems, both primary and the backups, responded by suspending automatic processing to ensure that no incorrect safety-related information could be presented to an air traffic controller or impact the rest of the air traffic system. He later described the issue as incredibly rare, saying he was confident the situation would not arise again. We understand the way the system didn't handle the data, the way it failed, if you like. So we have put in place already procedures to make sure if that happens again, we can resolve it very, very quickly. Asked about reports that a flight plan submitted by a French airline could be behind the problem, Mr. Rolfe said he wouldn't want to speculate at this point. He said NATS was working with the CCA to provide a preliminary report to the Transport Secretary on Monday and that the report's conclusion would be made public. The Department of Transport said it had approved night flight to all UK airports it regulates to alleviate the backlog in UK flights. It follows a meeting of NATS, the CAA, airlines, airports, trade bodies, and border force, chaired by Transport Secretary Mark Harper. Speaking after the meeting, Mr. Harper warned again that the knock-on effects of Monday's disruption are likely to continue over the coming days, and said passengers due to travel should check with their airlines before heading to the airport. The head of one industry body said the organization has crucial questions to answer over the fort, which NATS remedied 3 hours after confirming the issue just before midday on Monday. While Warshi, head of the International Air Transport Association, called the failure unacceptable and said he felt for passengers who continue to suffer huge inconvenience and airline staff put under considerable additional stress. He added that airlines would bear significant sums in care and assistance charges on top of the cost of disruption to crew and aircraft schedules. But it will cost nothing. Passengers have recounted how they faced huge disruption because of the issues. Sarah Scanlon, is one of thousands of passengers caught up in the aftermath, with many unable to return home to the UK or fly abroad for long-booked holidays. Mrs. Shackern from near Preston, Lancashire, described absolute chaos at Parma, the Mallorca airport, after waiting on an airport for 6 hours before her Jet 2 flight on Monday was cancelled. After leaving the plane, Mrs. Scallern said she and her husband Barry and 2 boys, Toby 10 and Gabe 8, were left to find their own accommodation. A lack of local hotels meant they had little choice for a bed but the Spanish airport floor. They eventually got a flight home on Tuesday. Adam Ashar Kelly and Christian Meredith feared they could miss their wedding in Italy after their flight from Manchester to Verona was cancelled on Monday. The bride and groom to be are frantically trying to find a way to get to a local court in Marcinson near Lake Garda before they can be legally wed on Saturday. Wed on Saturday. The couple, both from Manchester, have booked a new flight to Milan on Wednesday, but have no idea whether it will go ahead or be cancelled. Analysis of flight data websites showed at least 281 flights, including departures and arrivals, were cancelled on Tuesday at the UK's six busiest airports. This consisted of 75 at Gatwick, 74 at Heathrow, 63 at Manchester, 28 at Stansted, 23 at Luton, and 18 at Edinburgh. Thousands of passengers hit. Airports and airlines were forced to apologize to travelers for the delays and cancellations, and in some cases have offered passengers full refunds. Heathrow Airport, the world's busiest 2-runway airport, said on Tuesday there may be some continuing disruption on some routes and advised all passengers to check their airline before traveling to the airport. EasyJet had been disrupted on Tuesday, but by the evening said it was now operating normally. Sarah Scallern's children spent the night sleeping on the floor of Parma, the Mallorca airport. Michael O'Leary, boss of Ryanair, said it had to cancel about 250 flights on Monday, affecting about 40,000 passengers. On Tuesday, 70 flights were cancelled, he said, adding that the airline was hoping to run a normal operation on Wednesday with minimal delays.
Oh, it is sadly outside of our control,
Mr. O'Leary said.
We have been in contact with UKNet. We still haven't had an explanation from them. What exactly caused this failure yesterday?
BA has advised customers traveling on short-haul services to check their flight was still running before heading to the airport. The airline added that customers due to travel on a short-haul service on Tuesday or Wednesday may be able to move their flights to a later date free of charge. TUI said that on top of a refund, its customers would be entitled to a future holiday voucher of £100 per person. The couple need to register their marriage this week to legally wed on Saturday. The CAA says an airline has a duty of care to provide food, drink, and accommodation if delays stretch overnight. If a flight is cancelled, passengers should be offered the choice of a refund or alternative travel arrangements at the earlier opportunity.